I'm Lester Holt.
Howdy, Holdheads. Kurt Money here, alongside my co-host,
Kateline.
and we are here to discuss an episode of The Perfect Murder. One of a super low-bud show that's on HBO Max, but clearly originally airs on Discovery ID.
Oh, boy.
Kate, go ahead, real quick. Tell me your first thoughts on this, baby.
Did you pick this because it's funny? You did it for the lulz?
Okay, I picked it first off because it was genuinely hysterical. There are 3 parts where line delivery and what they said.
Yeah.
Like, belly laughs, I've seen the episode 10 times now, and I still laugh out loud when it happens.
Uh-huh.
That was the first reason, okay? And then the story unfolds, and what they drop on us in the last 7 minutes.
She just had a way about her. It's totally different than anything I saw in my 34 years.
I'd never heard of this story. Now, there was a podcast a few years ago, Mom Money had heard of her, and all this stuff. This was fresh to me. Were you familiar with this story at all?
I was not.
The reason why I 100% picked it was because it was another example of, like, I know what kind of crimes to expect, and this is the way that they just blew this off in one episode. Like, this deserves a 3-part Netflix thing, at least. I mean, I'm shocked there isn't one.
I don't know that I'd go that far.
Oh, really? Okay, well, we better get into it before I get too heated, because guess what? You know I done read that book.
I've read that book!
No, you didn't.
I've read the book!
And I got a lot to say about it, Kate. I'm holding the book up,
Oh, wow.
shoving it in her face. I can't believe you don't think this could make that. Woo-wee. Okay, all right. Okay, here we go. Let me read the IMDb real quick. This is Perfect Murder, Season 2, Episode 6, aired July 2015. A Milwaukee mother was murdered in 1981. Was it a masked man with a ponytail? Was it her bitter cop ex-husband? Or a neighbor who claims his gun was stolen? Police make a shocking arrest, but some still have doubts. Okay, how to start this? Kate, do you have doubts? Where's your head at right now? What do you think about this?
I do have doubts a little bit because the motive makes no sense.
Okay, it's like I'm torn, and I was trying to really think hard about how to do this episode, because first off, I'm here to laugh with you at this show and how absurd it is. But then I read this book, and I'm fired up, okay? Like, everybody's dead in this case, so it doesn't matter. There's nothing to do about it. But this was a miscarriage of justice if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
I have so many things that they say in the episode that were not true to what happened. So, do you think that I shoot those out as we talk about the episode? Or do I try and keep my mouth shut? What do you think?
I think maybe offer up counterpoints as we go along.
Okay. That's cool. All right. So the first frame of this episode has something that every time I watch one of these things, it drives me nuts. They have a warning where it's like, due to the graphic nature, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this one, it's a long paragraph, and the words are center justified, but they're off center to the left.
They are.
It makes me want to, like, gouge my eyes out. It drives me nuts.
I think it's because when it airs on Discovery ID, the credits from the previous show are going on the right.
Oh my God, are you for real?
Yeah.
Well,
Because they run those shows with heavy overlap. They'll have the credits going on both the end of one and the opening of the other. And I think they have it off center because of that.
I mean, that, I'll be able to sleep at night because that sounds like a reason. I don't know if it's a good one. Left justify those words, dudes. Like, that could solve this across the board. I guess that solves it, but every time this show starts, I go, why? Why are they doing this? And actually, before we start on the case, just overall, like, you know how all crime shows got to have a hook. The Perfect Murder's hook is that they present 2 wrong theories before they tell you the right one. And they do it with 2 detectives, often played by the same guys in each episode. Does that surprise you?
Not at all.
They reuse the cast so much. Even the victims, like there's this one guy that always plays a dickhead. Anytime he's up, I'm like, oh, this guy's guilty.
The father seemed to just delight in tormenting the children.
You like games? We're gonna play a game called Russian Roulette. Oh! I win!
But they do this thing where, like, they'll go through and they'll go, here's what I think happened.
What do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah, what do you think?
Here's my theory.
And then they do a rewind, and then we see it in black and white of what they thought. Mm-hmm. Now, we know because we've seen the show before, and because the show just started, that's not going to be it.
Think about it.
But every episode, there's 2 wrong theories that they present. Usually they have the 2 detectives at a bar and it's over a drink. And it's hilarious. But anyway, that's basically the premise of the show is, and also, every case, a detective on there is going, okay, but it wasn't the perfect murder because we caught him.
Richard Bolt is spending the rest of his life in jail, so obviously this was not a perfect murder.
There's always a detective who's like, I know the name of your show and I know you want me to say this was almost a perfect murder, but I will not do it. I will not do it.
Pretty good investigation, but not a perfect murder.
This takes place in Milwaukee, but wouldn't you know, all of the actors have New York and New Jersey accents.
Do they ever?
And it's clearly shot there. Nothing about it looks like Milwaukee. It looks like Staten Island.
Oh, easy tiger.
Yeah.
Remember that part? Easy tiger.
And
I get the collar this time.
Easy, tiger.
and then you hear the real investigator from Milwaukee with the thickest Lakes region accent you've ever heard.
Yeah.
She was lying on a bed with her hands bound loosely behind her back with a plastic cord. She had a gag, a scarf tied around her mouth.
And I'm expecting the rest of the cast to sound like that, but they don't.
No. And our story begins in 1981. You would not be able to tell that from the B-roll.
It is 2015. Straight up.
It's May of 1981 in the safe suburbs of South Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
This was the first thing you said to me, Kate. This is some low-budge bullshit.
Yes.
Right? Like, that was your first thought, like, there's no money in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. I've read the book like twice, and I highlighted stuff in there.
You read it twice?
Well, 1.5. I tried, but I couldn't finish it before we had to record. Because then I watched the episode again, and I was like, wait, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. So then I went through with fucking highlighter. Was highlighting pages and shit.
Wow.
Just pulling up real quick just to prove it. Oh, here we go. Here's a good one. Boom. Highlighted stuff.
I mean, I believe you.
Oh, okay. Milwaukee, 1981. Christine Schultz is a 31-year-old mother with 2 sons that are 9 and 12, I believe.
Until 11-year-old Sean is awakened.
At 2 a.m. one night, the boys are awakened
in the same
by
bed.
a masked intruder. Were they in the same bed?
The boys were sleeping in the same bed.
Maybe. Oh, wait. Actually, that was a true fact of the case. The younger one was scared of the dark and would often go to bed with the older brother.
I just thought that was a low-budget thing.
Nope. This was production saying we are following the facts.
Okay.
So the masked intruder goes in there and like puts a gloved hand over the boy's mouth and says like shh, shh, shh. And then he walks out of there and goes into Christine's room, the mom. And the boys say it was a man in a green army jacket and had a ponytail.
Mm-hmm.
And then they hear some noises. They hear their mom scream and a gunshot. And they go into their mom's room and there's poor Christine Schultz dead on the bed. Her hands are tied behind her back and there is a gunshot wound in her back. So now the cops are like, okay, who did it? We got to think about the usual suspects. For instance, she is dating a cop and her ex-husband is a cop, and there's a lot of drama with that guy. So it's probably him. But the first suspect they must deal with, Kate, if I'm not mistaken, is the neighbor, because there was the stuff against him was just too strong. Don't they? Do they do the neighbor first? Don't they?
They might, but we learn about the dad and the boyfriend first.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Thanks for reining me in here.
Yeah.
Before we look at our suspects, let's talk a little bit about the background of Christine Schultz and her love life. Help me out here.
So Christine went through kind of a nasty divorce where she got the house and custody of the kids. And she starts dating a cop who used to work with her ex-husband. They're both cops, and they knew each other prior to her.
They were roommates, bro.
They were roommates back in the day. And that breaks a lot of friend codes.
Yeah, not only that, it broke the cop code at the time. It was illegal because her boyfriend was married, so he was like cheating on his wife with Christine, and it was not cool. It was literally against the law for cops to sleep outside their marriage.
Against the law?
Yes, it was an antiquated law, they said, and the cops did find out about it, and that's because the ex-husband told on him because he hated him. And the show did a great job of showing us the relationship between this new boyfriend and the ex-husband. Because the husband, Fred Schultz is his name, okay?
12 years before Christine Schultz is killed in her home, she marries police officer Fred Schultz, but the marriage doesn't last.
He comes over to pick up his kids one day. And here are 2 of the biggest laughs. Oh my God. This is what I was when I was crying, laughing, going, I must force Kate to watch this, if only for these scenes.
Yeah. So the boyfriend and the two sons are out in the front yard throwing a football around. And the dad rolls up and he's like, what is this? Why aren't you guys ready? Where are your backpacks?
Yeah, he's pissed.
Where the hell are your bags?
In there.
And the boyfriend's like, relax, we're just having fun. We're just throwing this ball around. And he's like, not on my watch or whatever.
Yeah.
And storms up to the door and knocks. And Christine comes out and he's like, why aren't they ready? And she's like, because they're having fun or whatever. And he's so mad. He grabs the backpacks and just like yanks the kids and puts them in the car.
And we think end of scene. Let's see what happens next, but not on this show.
No, there's a button on basically every conversation. And in this one, the boyfriend, what did he say? Like, bye, Fred, while humping the air.
Well, first Fred turns around and goes, hey, Stu, flips him the bird.
See you later, guys. Hey, Stu.
Okay. And then that's when Stu, the boyfriend with the football, does like a double hump to the air.
Bye, Fred.
That was not in the book. I can say that for a fact.
No.
This was creative license.
This was improv from these Staten Island actors. That's what this was.
You're right. Oh my God, you're right. And, I got to give a shout out to the wife real quick because she's dead. So no more screen time for this actor. But they gave us a little flashback of when she was fighting with Fred. And this was the first laugh because he gets home late one day.
Yep.
And she's like, where have you been? And her head's shaking. She's fired up. And he's like, work.
Good morning.
Morning.
Where have you been? Working.
She calls him out and he says, I was at the bar with the boys. And she's like,
Yeah.
At the bar with the boys till 11 a.m.? And then it's confusing because then she says, the boys are already on the bus.
Yeah.
And it's like, because their improv is so bad, nothing's scripted. So there's nothing to differentiate between my boys being my coworkers, my buddies, and the boys are sons.
Good call. That's a great call.
I had a drink with the boys.
You had a drink with the boys that lasted until 10 a.m.? The boys are already on the bus. I'm here by myself all the time. You do this all the time.
And she's like, the boys are already on the bus. And it's like, well, obviously, the boys are already at school. They're not on the bus. What? No one scripted this?
Fred rolls in and says, work. And then Christine goes, why does work smell like alcohol? With such attitude.
Working. Why does work smell like alcohol?
That took me by surprise. That was the first time where I was just like, oh my God, what is going on with this show?
So bad.
And that was that actor's move. Every time that she had a scene, and it was only a few, it would be a fight with Fred, and her first reaction would be to repeat what Fred had just said, and then follow it up. She'd go, oh, you were at work? Why does work smell like this? Stuff like that.
You gotta be kidding me. How come they're not ready?
How come they're not ready? They're enjoying some time with Stu.
And it was pretty hilarious. Okay, I got to tell you this. What do you think Fred Schultz, what do you think his full name was for Fred?
Well, Frederick is what I would assume, but you're going to tell me that's not right. So it's got to be something made up.
I've never heard it before. Do you want to guess again? Because I don't have any others. Outside of Frederick, I have no idea what else it could be.
Fredley?
Nope.
Fredman?
Nope. And here's where you're going wrong, is you're doing the suffix side. It's on the prefix. It's Elfred. E-L Fred. That's his full name.
Elfred?
Alfred.
Not Alfred?
No, Elfred. And he's a junior.
Oh, right. So it's some weird old-timey name.
Like old McCracken was. So, like, there's two people out there named Elfred. Boy, that name threw me off. And I get why they didn't say it in the show. That was another book moan. Okay, so they know now to the neighbor, you think?
Yeah. So the cops start looking around at who their suspects are. They obviously interview the boyfriend and the husband. And we learn that the boyfriend was at the house that night, but he left earlier and locked up behind him.
Yeah.
We also learn that when the boys, this was weird to me, when the boys find their mother, they call the boyfriend.
Yeah, Stu.
They don't call the police. They call Stu. And Stu doesn't call for an ambulance either. He just calls his cop buddies and tells them to swing by the house and check on it. And then
maybe they didn't believe the kids or something.
And then the detectives at least what we see is just like beat cops showing up. And then they go into the bedroom and they're like, oh my God, call an ambulance.
What's going on in here? Oh, Joe, I got a female down and two boys in here. Call an ambulance.
Why didn't Stu call for the ambulance then?
Great
That
question.
made me suspicious of Stu.
That's true. But according to him, he locked up and went home. And so that's his story. And the husband supposedly has a perfect alibi because he was on duty that night and he was at a robbery. That's what the cops hear first.
Yes.
It's like, well, clearly his alibi is solid as a rock. Because he's on duty.
Mm-hmm.
He was on duty. There were witnesses. He had a partner. And at the time of the murder, he was nowhere near the house.
And now's when we get to talk about the neighbor, Kate.
Yep.
Okay.
But a dozen people said they had seen a man in the area wearing a green running suit.
I'm giving, this isn't an all-star award because it's not a real person, but if we have an ILH acting award, I'm giving it to the guy who played this neighbor. He was making me laugh a lot.
Because he was so bad?
But I think it worked he's playing a weirdo. Okay, we're about to tell you the things he said and they were all weird as hell. I don't know if this guy would work in any other role, okay? But my God, was I dying.
Can I ask you guys, am I a suspect in this case?
He's like rail thin, like he's a Doug Jones type.
And just as tall. Tall and skinny and weird as hell.
Yeah, and his name was Gil Mendy, which is a good name, but not as good as his alibi's name. But hang on. So they talked to some of the neighbors, and the neighbors like,
well, suspicious out of the ordinary. There is the man across the street who's quite strange and odd.
We talked to this guy who's next door, and he goes, yeah, nothing weird has happened except, you know what is weird? I had a green jogging suit that was stolen. Oh, and I had a gun, a .38 that was stolen out of my garage. Does that help you guys? Now, why does that help them, Kate?
Well, Christine was shot with a .38.
A next door neighbor to Christine Schultz had reported somebody had taken a green running suit and also his .38. Very suspicious.
They lost their minds with this green jogging suit thing. But the boys repeatedly said it was not a green jogging suit. It was an army fatigue jacket. Not one with camouflage like the show did. But you know those green army jackets that are just like solid green? Mm-hmm. That's all the boys would say. It was a man, and he was wearing a green army fatigues jacket. But nobody can let go of this green jogging suit stuff. So the neighbor's looking good at this point. And he's real cautious, though, right? What's the first questions he asks those cops before he says a single word?
He says, I'd love to help you. Can you show me your badge?
Loved it.
Like, prove that you're real cops.
Nice to meet you, Gil. Why don't we go inside rather than let your neighbors hear everything that's going on?
Oh, that's a very good idea. But before we go, I have one question for you. May I see your badge, please?
And the way that he says it, too, this guy's delivery was, top notch. So they go in and talk about it, and this neighbor is like, this is the most amazing thing that's ever happened to us. Tell me more. Mm-hmm. And the cops are weirded out beyond belief.
I mean, they ask him about his alibi.
And he says, well, you can talk to my friend Smiley Bryant. He's got all the answers. Smiley!
I was staying with my friend.
Friend being?
Smiley Bryant.
And it just so turns out, Smiley's, he's on a jag in Vegas. He's out there partying right now. Cops, sorry, can't help you. You're gonna have to wait till Smiley gets back in town.
So he's not an alibi.
Well, what's the last question old Gil Mendy asks of these cops? Gil says, hey, well, officers, one thing. Can I look at your gun? Did you die laughing then? Because the reaction to the other cop, the space between his response was so long and awkward, and he just goes, no.
Just one more thing.
Yes.
Can I see your gun?
No.
Asked to see their gun!
Very odd.
And, okay, this is when the show gives us our first theory flashback. And they go, well, we know he's a freak.
What could be more obvious? But what about a motive? Well, we know he's a freak.
And they have a theory that he became obsessed with his neighbor, Christine. They thought that maybe he was kind of stalking them, the jogging by the house and standing in front of it, and that one day he goes inside and he sees Christine with Stu, and his whole world collapses because this perfect couple that he was so obsessed with is actually not perfect, and she's cheating.
Yeah.
And he's so angered by that he has to sneak in later and kill her.
But first he's got to hit that laundry basket, because he's got some sniffing to do.
He's got to sniff those panties.
Panties. Uh-oh, where's Keith?
A pair of panties.
And they really show him about to do a sniff. It was hilarious. And would you see him running around to try and hide from the people that just got home? It's so funny. Hang on, turn off the noise. Okay, sorry about that. Are you cool on time? Are you dying? Are you like her pick up the pace?
I mean, maybe.
Okay. We're not even to the good. We haven't even introduced the star of the show yet.
I know. We need to.
So the cops are kicking that around. Now, they find out some additional info about Fred, in that he lied to these detectives about what he was doing that night. He said he was out on the job doing his thing as a detective and a cop for Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't. Where was he all friggin' night, Kate?
He and his partner were at a bar getting hammered.
Yeah.
While on the clock.
Now, here's a little side business from the book. That was par for the course. The Milwaukee Police Department was so corrupt. I'm saying was because this was 40 years ago. I assume they fixed it since then. But I can tell you with receipts that they were straight up monsters working there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This is what they would do is, those call boxes cops are supposed to use? They had to call in once an hour to prove that A, they were working, and B, also their location in case something happened. Well, the MPD didn't require cops to call in. They didn't have to start calling in until Laurie's lawsuit, so they all blamed her for it. Because what they'd usually do when they go out at night is just get hammered at a bar or get a blowy in a cemetery. Like, these are facts. This was another prime example of the script just popping off the page, is when the detectives go to Fred's partner, and they're like, hey, we wanted to ask you about that murder night. Did you handle it? And the other guy goes, yeah, we handled it. Why? What did you hear? And the detectives go, we heard somebody else handled it. And the detective goes, oh, yeah, okay, so here's what really happened.
Cops talked to Fred's partner about the night Christine was shot.
Did you guys handle it or not?
Yeah, we handled it.
That's not what we heard.
What'd you hear?
We heard somebody else handle that job.
All right.
We were at the bar. We did not go to that. Was it a burglary? What was the case?
Yeah, his buddy tried to say that Fred showed up bombed out of his mind, and so he took him to a bar to get him relaxed. Other detectives handled the burglary. But I can tell you this as a fact, they were never anywhere near the burglary. I mean, they had nothing to do with it because they were genuinely just in a bar getting drunk. And there was people to confirm that, multiple people.
Sure. What was going through Fred's mind when he tried to say he was handling a burglary when there were multiple witnesses at the bar who saw him getting hammered all night?
I think it's because he's been a cop for at least 6 years or something, and he's been able to do whatever the fuck he wants.
And he thinks, talking to these cops, the cops are going to believe him because they're cops too.
Well, no spoilers, but he never gets arrested. So
yeah,
there might be some truth to what this prick was saying.
Detectives visit Fred at home to talk further.
And so now the show introduces us to the star of the program. And this is like 20 minutes in or something. It's too long.
Mm-hmm.
But they are introduced to Fred's wife. They're over at his house talking to him.
We didn't know that Fred was remarried. They never mentioned that at the top. So it's like...
They sure did not.
Okay, he's all pissed when he shows up to the house to get the boys because he sees them hanging out with Stu. But Christine's not pissed that he's got a new wife. This guy is just a piece of shit.
And here's a good detail, that when Fred was with Christine, he told her, yes, I sleep with other women and you're just going to have to deal with it.
And Christine...
That's just another fun tidbit about Elfred Schultz.
And Christine said, well, I'm not going to deal with it. We're getting a divorce.
Exactly. Okay, so now we're introduced to Laurie Bembenek, a.k.a. Bambi. Tell us about Bambi. What's your first thoughts when they introduce her? Because now's when I got to talk to my blood and say, stop boiling, keep it at a simmer. But go ahead.
Well, Bambi was also a former cop, and she was one of the only women on the police force, and certainly the most attractive. We were told that she was a knockout, but she wasn't treated very well by her fellow cops. She was also pretty liberal, and they were all conservatives. Obviously, they were cops, so they didn't like her, and they kind of bullied her out of her job. She was out at a club one night with a friend, and they were smoking pot, and this cop comes up and just tattles on her, and her boss makes her leave because she was smoking dope.
And they tried to make it say because she wouldn't take a piss test.
Piss in this cup, or you can give me your badge.
Those are my options?
Those are your options.
All right. Stick it.
Here's when I gotta hop in and give you some cold hard facts. Okay, 1, the show presented it as they did some digging. Turns out Laurie used to be a cop.
Laurie is a cop's wife now, but police do some digging and find that early in her career, She was actually a cop herself.
The entire Milwaukee Police Department knew about Bambi. 1, she was a smoke show. We can agree you saw pics. What'd you think?
Yes,
Smoke
she
show.
was.
I agree. 2, she's outspoken. 3, she passed the recruiting process, which they did not want her to do. The first guy that she was with, after she passed all his bullshit tests, and I mean, incredibly sexist and racist and all the bad stuff. Like what you would think of like awful, terrible cops in the 80s, Milwaukee Police Department was very guilty of it. And I'll tell you why else everybody knew who Bambi was. Because even though she had been fired at that point, she was involved in multiple lawsuits trying to take them down for being discriminatory. Okay.
Right.
Like when she got fired, she tried to join the Air Force and she couldn't unless you couldn't have any litigation involved. Not you couldn't have your own against somebody you couldn't be accused of. There could be no litigation processing for you to join the Air Force. And she still said, "No, I'm going to press these f***ers." So that's where she's at when she's introduced as a suspect. Not this bombshell walking around the house in skimpy clothing as the show presents. Do you want some cookies, officer?
Oh, yeah. So they come to the house to talk to Fred, and we see Laurie there. She comes in and offers them cookies, which now we know she would never do because she f***ing hated the cops.
Yeah.
And her dickhead husband, Fred, is like, "No, they don't want cookies. Go put some clothes on, you whore," basically.
Yeah.
Hey, would you guys like some cookies?
Could you get the kids from practice, please, and
Oh, I thought
maybe
you...
put some clothes on?
Sure.
And so then we're led to believe that, like, oh, she's pissed. She's gonna do something crazy. But really, she wouldn't have been offering the cookies in the first place because she hated them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I gotta say this, they call her out. Judy Zess is her one-time friend that says Laurie was smoking doobs left and right. Not true. Judy Zess was another cop with Laurie at the time, or they were recruits. When they went to this concert, Laurie was in the bathroom when Judy was arrested. She didn't smoke or anything. She was genuinely came out of the bathroom and was like, "Where's my friend?" Okay? And just weeks before that, she had been accused of smoking pot at a cop party and wearing her badge on her underwear. And everybody assumed it was her. She's like, one, she was at this cop party, but she was not doing that. Okay? So this whole time, the cops are desperately trying to kick her out of here. They want nothing to do with her. And the fact that this show presents it, that they said you can either
piss in this cup or you can give me your badge,
is complete fabrication. They sent a letter to her that said you are fired with no reason, and there were 3 other female cops fired that day. And when like the city was like, "Why'd you do it?" Guess what the cop said? "You're like the head of the guy behind the counter and the American flag in the show.
Get out of my office."
He goes, "It's for the good of the service."
Oh, wow.
So that just give you a little taste of what she's working with here, Kate.
The odds are stacked against her. But if she hates the cops so much, why did she marry one?
Look, I get it. Her dad was a cop, and one of the jerk detectives was like, it was bizarre that she had so many cops in her life.
And it was a little bizarre that so much police authority was involved around her.
That cop had nothing to say about Christine Schultz divorcing one cop to date another. Look, I mean, I don't know. You like what you like. Maybe she's drawn to it because her dad was a cop and she really respects him. I mean, I can't hold her against this, that she's surrounded by cops, because she grew up in it. And the show did not point this out. She wanted to be a cop since day one. Like she loved being a cop. Like it was her dream job. And now her dad not only retired, he quit for these reasons because he said it was awful. And he was a white guy.
Yeah.
About a 9 on the tension scale, Rube.
Okay. So how you feeling, Kate? Are you starting to get where I'm coming from?
Well, I do get where you're coming from, but also it supports what I said in the beginning. The motive makes no sense. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Because I was skeptical about whether or not Laurie had anything to do with this, because they also went on to tell us that this is where we see like another theory of what possibly happened. And it was that the cops thought that Laurie was so pissed that Fred had to spend all of his money on child support and not on them. And that she didn't want to be a mother, that she didn't sign up for any of that, which doesn't make any sense because she married a man who had kids. It also doesn't make sense because killing Christine would give them sole custody of the kids. And if she didn't want kids, then why would she kill the person who has custody of them?
Yeah, That was all bullshit too, and they said that she wanted Fred's house. No, Fred wanted the house because he built it, and he's a cheap prick, asshole, abuser, okay? That's also a fact. He punched Christine and stuff.
Yeah.
Here's another huge thing that I gotta say. Okay, she's called Bambi. We're just gonna call her Bambi rest of the episode. And that's because that was her nickname. Now, the show tells you that in her past, she worked at the Playboy Club, and that was her nickname there, and it stuck. Wrong.
One of Laurie's jobs over the years had been working as a waitress at a Playboy Club, where she was known as Bambi. The nickname stuck with her.
Wrong. It was given to her at the police academy because the officer recruit could not pronounce Bembenek. So he just called her Bambi, okay? That's where it happened. And also, this Playboy Club thing, she worked there with Judy Zess, this ex-friend who will f*** her in the future as well. Keep that in mind. She took this job after she had been fired as a cop because she had to make money, and she was there for 3 weeks, Kate. And it followed her entire life. Oh, Playboy Bunny. Her name's Bambi. She worked there for 3 weeks serving coffee. How's that fair?
It's not.
True. Okay.
And we also learned that, I don't know if it was through a friend of hers or who, but that Bambi actually really liked spending time with Fred's kids and didn't mind it at all.
Yeah.
And Fred was the one who was just pissed that he had to pay child support. And it's like, yeah, man, I don't know what to tell you. You cheat on your wife. She wants a divorce. That's on you.
Yeah.
And you should want to pay for your kids.
Yeah, and the way the show presented it was like, Fred, look, she's got my hands tied. Okay, I just got to do it. And that Bambi was there all ready to go out for the night. And like, what? You got to spend that money where?
We can't go out again? Why? Why does she need more money? Yet again?
When it's like, no, Fred was just a prick and didn't want her to be with anybody. He didn't care about his kids, and I'll prove that later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then another a crazy thing happens where, according to the show, a plumber comes over to Fred's place to fix the toilet. And what happens here?
This is when I knew that she was probably innocent because no one would be this stupid.
Yeah.
The plumber
What happened?
finds the wig that the boys say the intruder was wearing.
Yeah, it's like a long redhead wig.
And also they had found pieces of hair from that wig at the crime scene. So they knew that this wig existed. The cops knew.
Yeah.
The plumber finds this wig in the pipes. Someone had tried to flush it down the toilet.
Who would think it would go down? A child, maybe, right? I mean, there's...
Only a cop could be that dumb.
Boom, roasted.
And that plumber who called the cops, what was his backstory, Kay? What was his old job, that plumber? Do you remember?
Oh, wasn't he a cop?
Yeah, he was.
Mm-hmm.
So he was in the boys' club that Bambi's going against and fighting for her life against. Interesting.
The plumber is an ex-cop himself. He remembers the case of the woman who was murdered in her own bed and calls police.
Hey, guess where it turned up? This toilet.
Now, I gotta present this. This fucking dumb show has Fred going to take a dump and being like, oh, it's clogged. It was the neighbor's toilet that was clogged, not theirs, for number one.
Oh.
Okay? And now, a few years later, a private investigator that learns Laurie's case and fights for her innocence talks to that neighbor, okay, a few years later, and the neighbor goes, yeah, it was weird because, or a few weeks after the murder, Laurie's friend Judy Zess called and asked to go work out with me, which I'd never done before with her. Like, we were not friends. And she said, I'll meet you at your house. And then so Judy Zess, this person who said that she smoked weed and wanted to kill her husband, went over to her house with a bag and said, okay, can I use the bathroom real quick? Went to the bathroom, and then they went to go work out. How about that?
Whoa.
Listeners, Kate shook. You should see her face.
Judy and the cops were all working to frame Bambi.
Yeah, and Judy, who will lie on the stand later, and she will, both her statements she makes to the police, she eventually takes back and signs an affidavit and says she was coerced. She says she was drunk and the cops stood over and told her what to write and wouldn't let her leave until she did. Also, Judy at the time was dating the upstairs neighbor, a guy who said that he had inherited some money until Bambi saw that his fridge was full of weed. He was a drug dealer, and that guy hated cops, specifically Fred, because Fred had killed his best friend in 1975 at a bust. Also not a joke.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's my opinion that Fred did this.
Yes, he did.
But there are a few other people that could have as well, and none of them are Bambi.
No, but I think because Fred did this, they are all working together to put away Bambi and get Fred cleared. And they're all guilty and would all do jail time for this.
Yeah, it only makes sense that this was a cover-up so the cops, because the cops, they wanted to get rid of Bambi still, because she was still a thorn in their side, right?
And I'm sure Fred hated her. Fred hated all women.
Yes. Oh, he absolutely did. Oh, and also when they got married out of state. Fred insisted. Now, that'll be interesting later, because then Fred can testify against her because they're not actually married. Also suspicious. I know a friend in Illinois, Laurie. Don't worry about it.
Wait, what do you mean they're not actually married?
That was again, that's a deep from the book. That comes out during trial. Their marriage was not legal.
Because when they got married out of state, it wasn't a real priest or something?
No, it was a judge, and he was still technically married to Christine, possibly. But Fred is such a shady guy, okay? And these are just things that happened to Laurie. Also, we gotta call her Laurie. I take back the Bambi thing. I don't want to call her Bambi. Can we call her Laurie? Is that cool?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fred, like, when you hear all these things add up, it's like, Fred's been planning this since they got married.
Mm-hmm.
He insisted. He goes, I know a judge.
Yeah.
Let's go out of town to do it.
He'd been planning to kill Christine and blame it on Laurie the whole time.
Yes. Now, okay, so that plumber thing happens. They get that. So now they're like, yay, we get to arrest her. Now, according to the show, the cops got a warrant and went over to the university where she was now a security guard and arrested her. And then, as this dumb cop said, he also got another search warrant for her locker.
A warrant was issued, and they got a search warrant and searched her locker.
Wrong on both counts, Kate. Okay, her lawyer said they did not have a arrest warrant for her. That, okay, fine, maybe they did. But they did not have a search warrant for her locker, which is fascinating because what they find in that locker.
There were 2 hairs that were consistent with the hair that was found on the gag of Christine at the time of her demise. With that information and the gun, she was charged with first-degree murder.
What's crazy is the cops, the arresting officers, they got different names in the book. I think maybe she did that, the author did that to, like, protect them, because, like, the book came out in 1990, like, this thing was still kind of cooking. But by all accounts, they are these 2 that are on the show, and I said that, you know, in current I'm Lester Holt, there's not a lot of Detective Dinguses. Well, guess what? These 2 are the King Dinguses. They can take it all the way to the bank, these 2. I hate them. I hate that the show had them on, and we'll wait till what they say at the end, but woo! Okay.
About a 9 on the...
So now they got a pretty good case. And, another thing they say is that the day after the murder, Fred goes down to the police with his off-duty revolver and says, I want you guys to check this out just so I can clear my name. Interesting, because when they test it, what happens? What results come back, Kate?
It's a match.
The gun that Fred placed into evidence was tested and was shown to be the murder weapon.
It's a shock to detectives and the entire Milwaukee Police Department.
It's a match. It was the murder weapon. So weird Fred brought that, right?
He brought it because he knew the cops would then say, well, who else has access to your weapon? And he says, well, I mean, nobody, just, you know, my wife. And they're like, oh, she did it.
Yeah. And they go, hey, Fred, will you take a polygraph for us? Fred's like, sure. He takes that polygraph and the guy comes out and is like, he aced it, except for one question. When I asked him if his wife knew about where that key was. Now, I've got the background on this, Kate. It was not a key to the lockbox. It was a key to Christine's house. Fred was not allowed to have one, but when he had been out with his boys, son boys, not party boys, he took one of their keys, made a copy, and hid it in their house. Okay? And Laurie only knew about this because Fred was frantically searching for a jewelry box a week before the polygraph. You see what I'm saying here? Like, So she did technically know about it now, but she didn't until a week ago.
Right.
I mean, so the trial happens. Are we at the trial? Am I forgetting anything?
Yeah. We're at the trial.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so she has her trial, and I will, because we're at the hour mark already, I'm not really going to go into the trial for you, Kate. I'm going to save you that. But there's a lot to say there, okay? Okay, I lied. I got to tell you one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They said, they were still going on and on about this green jogging suit. And presented as evidence, submitted and accepted, was a picture of Laurie in a green jogging suit. However, the picture was black and white. So how the hell were they allowed to assume it could be, she had a red jogging suit? Like, I'm not kidding. One of the pictures was black and white, and the proof is here she is in a green jogging suit. What?
That doesn't make any sense.
This is stuff that she would fight for years and all get turned away because it would make it, again, it would just expose the Milwaukee Police Department and the city of Milwaukee and stuff, right?
Wow.
Woo!
And again, the boys said it was an army fatigue jacket. They never said anything about a green jogging suit.
Right. And even on the stand, that boy says it was a man. They kept trying to say, well, she worked out so she could fool him. What?
No.
What? They insisted it was a man. So she goes to jail for life, okay?
Laurie is sentenced to life in prison.
The whole time she's in there, the cops love to say it was like a picnic for her because she got all this fan mail. Bullshit. She did file a lawsuit in prison against the prison because they only had room for like 110 prisoners. Guess how many female prisoners they had in there, Kate? 286.
So they were like quadrupled up in those bunks.
Yeah, and she like put a petition against it and won and stuff. Like while she's in prison, she's fighting for her innocence and fighting for the rights of the women in the prison. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And while she's in there, she notices a guy who's visiting one of her cellmates. And she's like, ooh, he's good looking. And of course, he thought she was a babe because she totally was.
Yeah.
The jury's out on if he was a stud. We saw a pic. He just looked like a guy, didn't he?
Just a guy. But when you're in jail, I mean, a guy is a guy.
You know what? Great point. That's a great point. So they fall in love and they concoct this plan where Laurie escapes. She straight up escapes. Like they're doing roll call and they're like, where's Bambi? Where's Bambi? Turned out she had fled out an open window, like near the laundry room.
Mm-hmm.
And she's on the run with this Dominic guy. There's also Ramsland. She's also a big star of true crime stuff. I've seen her before. Dr. Ramsland's like, she was very mediagenic.
She had already a nickname, Bambi, which really lent itself to being quite mediagenic. This was big stuff.
The audience loved her, and people had these pink bumper stickers that said, run, Bambi, run. And people were rooting for her because they thought she was innocent.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, she had done 10 years in prison.
Terrible.
So she goes to Canada, and for 3 months, they live a life together that's pretty sweet. I mean, these might have been the 3 best months for life.
Yeah. They have different names. She takes a job as a bartender, and things are going great. Until America's Most Wanted, and she's featured as one of America's most wanted. And even up in Canada, people saw it, and man, we see obviously a reenactment of a woman going into the bar and being like, I know who you are, and then calling the cops.
She really sells it.
Who are these snitches?
Great question, Kate. What's their problem?
Because everybody knew she was innocent. Why are you doing this to her?
Yeah. Like, why? She's at this restaurant. Dominic is working as a short order cook and stuff. Yeah, you're right. We've applauded America's Most Wanted before when we know the person is guilty. But in this case, I'm like, just let them live their life. I mean, I was thinking the same thing when they were arresting them for smoking pot. Like, the guy was like, well, you're not going to enjoy it anymore. Mm-hmm. It's like, this is what we pay cops to do?
Club's nice in there, right?
It's fun.
Yeah, I bet you're having a great time, but guess what? You're not going back in Milwaukee Police Department.
Yeah. It was a different time.
Sure was.
And, maybe that Canadian woman didn't understand that she was most likely innocent and just thought, well, if she's America's Most Wanted, I'm going to rat her out.
Yeah, and you would think, okay, so according to the book, it was a guy. I mean, the show certainly acted like they knew it was a woman because they have her playing like a super Karen, right? I mean, she's loving her gig in this. Like, I knew it was her. I knew it was her.
Officer, that's her. I saw her on TV. That's her.
Dominic and Laurie are both arrested. She spends 1.5 years in Canadian jail and then is finally extradited back to the United States. And now here's where crazy happens. For whatever reason, they're dealing with whether or not they should retry her case. Why is that, Kate? Isn't that fascinating?
Is it because they finally realized that there was no evidence against her?
If she will plead to second-degree murder, she will be credited with time served.
Take this
Laurie's
deal.
original conviction is set aside, and she takes the deal.
It's so weird.
I don't blame her at all for agreeing to it because she's been screwed by the system for a decade.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, my parents are sick. Oh, God. Okay, so all during the trial and stuff, Fred is crying his eyes out about his poor wife and how she's innocent. That lasted about 2 weeks. On the stand, he pled the fifth, and then when he was talking about his ex-wife, he cried so hysterically they had to stop proceedings. Okay, another bonus bit for you about Fred. And then he lived with Laurie's parents and would do construction jobs with her dad, and then stole money from him and robbed them, and never, they hated him. Okay.
Wow.
He stole money from them. He would forge checks in their name, and then he just up and moved to Florida. Okay. He just up and moved to Florida. And don't you worry about it, because he's on the news when she's on the run going, she's guilty. She tried to kill my kid. Okay? And also, the show presents that Dominic stuck with her when she got out. Incorrect. Jonathan got 1 year of probation, And then instantly he's available for news, but he's like, you got to pay me $7,500 in cash and I'll talk about it.
Mhm.
So like she just picks the wrong dudes. This is what made me absolutely positive when I first watched the episode that she was innocent, is because she gets out of jail. And what does she spend the rest of her life doing? The next 20 years? Trying to clear her name. Like, she's still obsessed with proving, because she's going on about how DNA will clear me now.
In the years that follow, she dedicates herself to proving her innocence.
Who cares?
Who cares? I was convicted of murder and I didn't do it.
I don't blame her. I think it's wild, though, that she didn't have to serve time for the jailbreak.
Yeah, it is weird as hell. Yeah, it is so strange. Like, it's like they got her back, and now that the news was back on it, they were like, okay, let's deal with this. Because that whole time, she's having lawyers try and represent her. The lawyer that repped her during her first trial was terrible and didn't do a preliminary hearing thing. And then after she was arrested, he got his license taken away because he practiced law during his 6-month period when he was not supposed to.
Mhm.
And then later he appears in Florida with Fred on CNN talking about how guilty Laurie is. And her lawyer's going, I knew she was guilty. I knew she was.
Okay, so having heard all this extra content that you've learned from the book, now I can say, yeah, this should be a multi-part Netflix series. But based on that episode, no.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad that you came around, though, because you could see a solid 3 eps on Netflix about this.
Definitely.
I mean, if Elvis guy got 3 eps, this could get 3 eps. Easy peasy.
Yes.
Either way, Kevin, you cannot be both a genius and retarded at the same time.
And my suspicions about Laurie being innocent were correct.
Yeah. I mean, it's so sad because then she gets hepatitis C and dies in 2010 in her 50s.
She dies in 2010.
I mean, it's sad as hell. Like, she didn't win anywhere along the line. Like, it's not like there are 2 TV movies about her, which I'm trying to get my hands on, but I can't find them. But Tatum O'Neal plays her in one of them.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. And also, and I ordered her book. She wrote a book the same year this book came out. And she was cool at this book. Oh, this author was one of the talking heads. I bet she hated this episode, too. Kris Radish, we saw her.
I still think this is a murder that is unsolved. This really could be the perfect murder.
These cops sucked. At the end, this episode at the end is like, hey, but even though he shows you all this stuff, some people out there still think she's innocent.
Yeah.
Even today, Laurie still has her supporters.
And it's like everyone, except for these 2 cops. What did the cops say? Where do they stand on this today, Kate? You think they got open minds about it?
No, they didn't make any mistakes. They believe justice was done.
No, and they say, without a doubt, I knew since the moment we arrested her that she was guilty of this crime.
There's never a doubt in my mind from 33 years ago that she was guilty.
She was very attractive, but she had obviously some verbal way of getting into people's minds, and she more or less control them.
Why, dude? The wig was a plant. The hair on the thing was obtained illegally and most likely planted. Her husband was an asshole who already was breaking the laws. Like, we didn't even talk about the naked picture thing. There was apparently a party every year in the park called the Tracks Parade that a bar would hold, and people would get naked and stuff. And they had pictures of police officers nude and posing.
If anyone ever saw these, he'd be screwed. Oh, I gotta hide these in my desk.
One of which was old Fred Schultz. Okay.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that Laurie was trying to get them in trouble for, but of course nobody wanted to touch it because the people above the person she was telling them to is like, well, that's my boss in there. I can't take these pictures to my boss. He's in the pictures. All right. Well, I think that brings us to our list, Kate. What do you got?
Well, Kate's unnamed list. I guess now you've brought my attention to a Florida connection.
Yeah.
But I
that's
did
true.
not know that based on the show.
I know. You see the dilemma here, right? It's like I'm talking about 2 different things, kind of.
And then the only military connection is the military jacket.
Great. That counts, though. That's straight up.
And the person seemed also to be wearing a sort of an army fatigue jacket.
I think that's it.
And one also me telling you that she tried to join the Air Force.
Oh, right.
Would count. But again, that's not in the book. And that she couldn't even do that unless she dropped her lawsuit against the police. It's just every turn she's... Every single one. And you know how they got away with it during her abuse during the recruiting stuff? Is they were like, look, they're trained to give you a hard time. And that's just how they talk. They're trying to put you through it so you know what it's going to be like. It's like, no, incorrect. All right, well, on to Kurt's Kick-Ass List.
Kick-Ass List.
Well, for sure, we're talking movies or TV because one, America's Most Wanted is involved.
And one day, her worst fears are realized.
And then America's Most Wanted rally people together to help them find fugitives from justice.
First time I've ever been mad at him, though. Like, why'd you find him? Why don't you mind your own business, John Walsh? Get the F out of here. And also Bambi, the nickname Bambi, of course, we see a cartoon Bambi on her locker when people are taunting her at work, but it's very much a not Bambi.
It's a copyright-free Bambi.
But, I mean, that's a movie ref if I've ever heard one. I think is that it for my list? There might be others. I'm just so jacked up.
I can tell.
I mean, I'm worried I'm too jacked up.
You might be.
No.
But I do want our listeners to know that it is, I know at the beginning we said, like, we don't want to make them watch this.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But knowing all this extra stuff might be worth a watch.
And we're back. So, the saga of Laurie Bembenek. She didn't do it.
She did not. She was just a lady cop who was treated poorly by her fellow cops and had to fight allegations her whole life.
Yeah, and it's wild that Bambi eventually kind of got justice because when they got her back from Canada, they didn't try her again. But it's still bullshit, and that's why she fought her whole life for it. Like, she had to attempt to escape, or she'd still be she'd be dead now because she died of cancer or something, but because she died when she was 50. But, like, the only reason why she got out of jail back then is because she successfully escaped.
Yeah.
This is a super sad story. I mean, front to back, because she never, like, she kind of got justice for a little bit, but not even really. Because she was still guilty of murder, according to the books. Like, as in, like, the law books, I mean.
Brutal.
Yeah. This is where you start to be like, Kurt, why'd you pick this one? But by the end, because I had read that book, you were convinced it was the good stuff.
The book, as usual, provides a lot more important context.
Yeah. And also introducing in this episode was the Book Mome audio drop where it goes, Book Mome! That was another helpful thing for me.
I read that book.
Future Kurt.
No, you didn't.
That too. But I specifically was trying to remember which episode I introduced Book Mome so I could use it again. And I couldn't remember, Kate. So it was another thing of me kicking myself going, what the hell episode was that? And then I re-listened to this bad boy and I said, there it is.
There it is.
Perfect.
Book Mome.
So now I can swipe it again. Also, this dude, this piece of shit, this is also sad because the Fred guy got away with murder and lived his life. Mm-hmm. Remember how his full dumb name was Elfred?
Yes.
Remember that? Mad at him. I hope he's probably still alive today. He's probably a freaking grandpa right now.
You think he's listening to this?
No. I don't think so because I think he's so dumb he doesn't party with true crime. If he listens to stuff, it's like talk radio sports or something.
Yeah.
Not to diss talk radio sports. I mean, I guess I did a little bit.
He doesn't know how to listen to podcasts. He doesn't know how to use apps.
Oh, these friggin' dinguses. I remembered how much I hate these cops, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, these are, I think they're still, to this day, the biggest dinguses that we covered on the Patreon episodes. These guys super sucked.
Maybe, yeah. Well, maybe, yeah, on the Patreon. But we've had bigger dinguses on Dateline.
I'm not sure. I mean, I guess I'd have to go back to the books because this was, here's what made this one stand out. These guys are still alive and able to appear on this show and still spout their nonsense.
That's true.
We've had insane police departments where the whole lot of them is playing this wrong, you know, because of, for whatever reason, bigotry or whatever it is in the 80s or 90s. They're guilty of that, but they're here living their life being like 80 on the show and stuff. So maybe that's why I'm so mad at them.
That's true. Will they win a Lestie this year?
Great plug. Okay.
Thanks.
Top notch. All right. So, yeah, that wraps up another one to give you a new taste for our new format. This was another classic one to me. I mean, if I buy multiple books about the case, I'm kind of on board.
I think that constitutes
forever.
A Kurt Money classic.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Yeah, that's good stuff. And on that note, I'm Kurt Money.
I'm Kateline.
All right. Well, on that note, I'm Kurt Money.
I'm Kateline.
I'm Lester Holt. For all of us, I'm Lester Holt. Good night.